Walk into any British supermarket and you will find shelves packed with chocolate digestives. The promise is the same: proper British comfort food, perfect for dunking. But crack open a packet and you will quickly realise they are not all created equal. Today we are examining 8 brands that have turned Britain's favourite biscuit into factory floor disappointment, plus 2 budget brands that are still doing it properly. 8th place goes to Fox's Viennese and Crunch Creams, a brand that trades on nostalgia but delivers little more than corporate sleight of hand. You're paying £1.50 a pack for biscuits that crumble at the first sign of tea, losing a staggering 13% of their mass in a standard dunk test. That's not just disappointing, it's a design flaw, like a waterproof jacket that leaks. The ingredient list reads like a cost-cutter's dream. 27% chocolate, but bulked out with a cocktail of palm, shea and mango fats instead of proper cocoa butter. Hydrogenated vegetable oils are right there on the label, raising health flags and lowering your expectations. It's no wonder Trustpilot is ablaze with outrage. One review simply shouts, "Foxes do not deserve even a star, horrendous in every way." For all the heritage branding, what you actually get is a biscuit engineered to fall apart and taste of nothing. This is where the pattern begins: premium price, cheapened recipe, and a biscuit that crumbles literally and figuratively under scrutiny. Number 7. Maryland. Cookies with milk chocolate lands here for all the wrong reasons. You might expect something special from a pack that costs £1.60 for just 150 grams, over £1 per 100 grams. Yet in blind taste tests, Maryland managed a lackluster 5.8 out of 9 with a 12% crumble rate after a standard dunk. That is a biscuit that falls apart before you even taste it. The HuffPost did not mince words when it labelled Maryland among the least favoured biscuits in its national ranking. But the rot goes deeper. Maryland and Foxes are both owned by Ferrero's FBC UK, sharing not just a Manchester factory, but the same palm-rich, cost-trimmed ingredient list. It is a corporate copy-and-paste job: hydrogenated oils, cheap vegetable fats, and a recipe engineered to save pennies, not satisfy. This is not just one bad biscuit, it is a portfolio strategy where mediocrity is the business model. Number 6. Co-op Milk Chocolate Digestives asks you to pay £1.20 for a 200-gram pack, 60 pence per 100 grams, yet delivers nothing but disappointment. For that premium, you might expect quality, but what you get is a biscuit that barely holds itself together in tea and offers a chocolate coating capped at a stingy 0.9 millimeters. Taste tests tell the same story: a middling 6.0 out of 9, with an 8% crumble rate after a standard dunk. That's not just a minor flaw, it's a sign of a biscuit that has been engineered to meet a price point, not to satisfy. Consumer panels consistently describe the flavour as dull and the texture as uninspired. You're paying a 4 pence per 100 grams premium over discounter brands, but you're not getting any extra value in return. This is mid-tier supermarket complacency at its worst, a product that trades on the trust of the own brand label, while quietly cutting corners on both taste and substance. Number 5. Tesco Milk Chocolate Digestives might seem like a safe bet at £1 for a hefty 300-gram pack, but here's the catch. What good is a fair taste if half your biscuit ends up as sludge at the bottom of your mug? One review nails it, saying it crumbled more than others and half ended up at the bottom of my cup. The dunk test backs this up. Tesco's biscuit loses 6% of its mass, but the real problem is the catastrophic break rate. You take a bite and the rest is floating in your tea. Taste panels score it a respectable 7 out of 9, but that's cold comfort when you're fishing for chunks with a spoon. This isn't just a fluke. It is a direct result of how supermarket buyers write their specs. Tesco's procurement team demands a thin chocolate coating to shave pennies off the cost, and the result is a biscuit that looks the part but fails the basic test of British biscuit engineering: structural integrity. For all the talk of value, what you get is a product built to a price, not to a standard. Number 4, Waitrose Essential Milk Chocolate Digestives makes a premium promise, but delivers the stingiest chocolate layer of any biscuit in this so-called top tier. At £1.30 for a 250-gram pack, you are paying 40% more than the budget options. Yet what do you actually get for that extra outlay? A chocolate coating so thin you can practically see the biscuit beneath, with informal measurements putting it under a millimetre, just 0.9 millimetres according to consumer tests. That is not just corner cutting, it is a masterclass in giving less for more. One shopper summed up the frustration, paying 40% more, getting less chocolate. The numbers back it up: 52 pence per 100 grams, a blind taste score of 6.2 out of 9, and an 8% crumble rate after dunking. The biscuit base itself is passable, but the chocolate is so sparse it barely registers, leaving you with a bland, underwhelming mouthful. For a brand that trades on the Waitrose name, this is a clear case of heritage branding masking a cost-driven downgrade. The result? A biscuit that fails on both value and satisfaction. A warning sign of just how far supermarket standards have slipped. Number 3, M&S Milk Chocolate Digestives trades on the promise of premium quality, but recent batches tell a different story. At £1.25 for a 300-gram pack, you are asked to pay above the budget tier, yet what you get is a biscuit that has lost its edge, literally. Reports of softer, almost cake-like bases have exploded since early 2024, with one customer summing it up: not much chocolate, and the biscuit's gone soft. The numbers back this up. The chocolate coating measures just 1.25 millimeters, and blind taste panels score it a middling 6.5 out of 9. In controlled dunk tests, M&S loses 7% of its mass, worse than Tesco or Lidl, and the signature snap has all but vanished. This is not a one-off. Batch-to-batch variability is now a talking point among reviewers, who complain about inconsistent texture and a biscuit that sometimes arrives almost stale. You are paying for reliability and getting roulette. Sometimes a passable digestive, sometimes a limp, under-chocolated letdown. When even the premium lines cannot guarantee a crisp, dunkable biscuit, it is clear that cost saving has trumped quality control. Number 2, Lidl Towergate Milk Chocolate Digestives promises unbeatable value, just 89 pence for a full 300 grams. On paper, that is a steal, a price per 100 grams that matches Aldi's, a dunk crumble rate of only 5%, and a blind taste score of 7.2 out of 9. But here is where the bargain falls apart: consistency, or rather, the lack of it. Open 2 packs from different batches, and you might find one biscuit with a respectable 1.2 millimeters of chocolate, and the next with less than 1 millimeter, sometimes as little as 0.9 millimeters. That might sound trivial, but in the world of chocolate digestives, it is the difference between a satisfying snap and a limp, dusty mouthful. Reviewers complain about a dusty texture and coverage that swings wildly from biscuit to biscuit. The base is often firm, and the chocolate, when present, holds up in tea, but then you hit a run of undercoated bland rounds that crumble or taste oddly flat. Lidl's quality control is a gamble. You might get a great batch, or you might get a dud. For shoppers chasing value, that unpredictability is a warning sign. Cheap does not have to mean unreliable, but here it too often does. When even the budget champions cannot guarantee the basics, it is a stark reminder that low price alone is no substitute for proper standards. And finally, in first place, McVitie's Milk Chocolate Digestives. For generations, this has been the gold standard, the biscuit that defined the British tea break. But today, you're paying £2.25 for a 266-gram pack, 85 pence per 100 grams, the highest shelf price of any chocolate digestive. What do you get for that premium? A product that has been systematically downgraded, batch by batch, in the name of cost savings. The reformulation timeline is no secret. Between 2010 and 2014, McVitie's swapped out its original fats for palm oil, thinned the chocolate layer from 35% to just 30% of the biscuit's weight, and introduced glucose fructose syrup to stretch the sweetness. All of this, according to company reports, was meant to optimize costs, but the result is a biscuit that loses up to 12% of its mass in a standard dunk, with a saturated fat load of 12.4 grams per 100 grams. Even the branding cannot hide the decline. RSPO certification is mentioned, but the supply chain remains murky and the environmental cost of palm oil is well documented. Blind taste panels now score McVitie's at just 6.2 out of 9, barely above the lowest tier. The backlash is fierce. One reviewer writes that they taste like cardboard, tasteless. Another reviewer asks, thin, bland, just awful, why change a brilliant recipe? This is not nostalgia talking. It is a direct response to a product that has been hollowed out while the price keeps climbing. McVitie's is not a victim of market forces. It is a deliberate case of giving you less for more, all while trading on its heritage. The worst value offender is not hiding in the bargain aisle. It is right there in the middle of the top shelf, wrapped in the colours of British tradition, daring you to notice how much you are being shortchanged. Across all 8 brands, one truth stands out. These biscuits are bad by design, not by accident. You are paying more for less. Thinner chocolate, cheaper oils, and a dunk that fails every time. Why reward nostalgia when quality is on the shelf right next to it? Choose better.